on, guys? We're live once again. Lazy Press channel. What's happening? All right, guys. So supposedly last minute, Trump's got another announcement. I wonder what this one's going to be. Maybe another. Maybe it's a giveaway. Maybe it's a new product he's going to sell. I don't know what it is. All these announcements. I guess we got another one. So here's a big announcement just about to be made, and we're gonna cover it live here. So get the word out there. Trump's big announcement. Trump's big announcement. All right. So yesterday we thought that he was going to say something about Venezuela, but it never happened. And he had two different events. I think I spelled something wrong on my thing there, but it's okay. You guys all understand. Somebody's telling me, you spelled it wrong. What did I spell wrong? Huge announcement. Okay, so I spelled announcement wrong. Announcement. No. How did I spell that wrong? That's crazy. What's the matter with me? Oops. Let me fix that really quick. But I can't fix it on all the blasts that I just put out there. So we just posted this on all of our social media and on our text alerts. Push notifications. It went out everywhere. And yes, I spelled announcement wrong. Huge announcement. It's a huge announcement. All right, I fixed it on the actual channel here, so it's okay. Let's just blame AI. Yeah, let's just blame AI. AI did it. It's all AI's fault. Nothing you see is actually reality, unless it's, of course, good. Then it's all me. Yep, I was the reason for why it all became the biggest thing in the world. Right? Never before seen in all of history. But if it's bad, it's Biden's fault. AI, whatever else. Anyways, no, we always like to make fun a little bit here, but at the same time, we want to make sure we're getting to the information that's coming out. But this is a live feed. There's been a lot of news that's been breaking. I'm going to go over some of that. So what's this last minute event that he's supposedly going to speak here at? We don't know. It's just an announcement. AP is covering it. Everybody said at the last minute last night, very late, that he had a very big announcement. So yesterday we thought he had a big announcement too. He had a cabinet meeting, and then he had a press conference back to back, and nothing was really. It was all about the children. It was all about a new foundation. I don't know what they call it, Trump Foundation, or it's kind of like what Clinton did with the Clinton Foundation, but it's now Trump's time. You know, they're gonna monetize. Billions of dollars are being given to the children, right? But the children can't even touch that money until they're 18. But they're going to just keep feeding that fund. Where's that money going to be in 18 years? Hopefully it's still there. Hopefully they don't pillage it, and get in and steal it. But I don't even think that the way things are going, there's going to be an America in 18 years because everything is failing. They're trying to monetize and tokenize and, digitize. And everything is going to crypto, supposedly. Ethereal, money that comes out of the ether. Just like, hey, you got digital tokens? You're going to be rich. Put all your assets into that. Because you know what? You don't really need anything physical. We're just going to upload your brain to the cloud. And when you die, we'll just bring you back from the digital dead. And now Rogan is saying that Jesus is going to return through the cloud and the AI. It's going to be Jesus. Rogan is actually saying that now. Yeah, isn't that crazy? And Rogan, I think, has taken too much DMT. He's really a big advocate of, psychedelics. So maybe that was a DMT trip that went bad. Not sure. We're gonna have to ask Rogan what that meant. But here we are waiting. Now we'll go through some news right now because there's been a lot of news that's been breaking in the last little bit here. But we're getting ready to do our big push on our text alerts. We have a very large list of text alerts we're going to eventually message everybody from those that used to follow our channel back in the old days. But for some reason, I was going to do it today, but the site seems to be down, and I wasn't able to access it, which is kind of crazy because I was going to send it out today. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened to my app. But we will get into the news here in just a moment. Let's just kind of take a look and see what's going on here. I'm going to look at my app here really quick and see what's going on here. Why is it that I can't access my... Yeah, that's really weird. That's really strange. Not sure. Something going on with the app? Maybe they're trying to block what we're doing? Very interesting. Well, anyways, I've got a message into the software company that we're trying to figure out what's happening here. But in the meantime, we might as well just go through some news. Let's go through some news while we wait for Trump to come out with his new announcement. I'm very interested to see and hear what he has to say. How's everybody doing, by the way? God bless everybody out there in the blazing press land, the BP News, all the blazers out there. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. We're gonna do our devotional a little bit here. I just want to make sure we get this. I was gonna go do it just a few minutes ago, but a huge magnetic storm is hitting. Wow. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on with the sun, definitely going on up there in the sun. And that usually affects tectonics and weather patterns on planet Earth when we have crazy weather. A lot of it's due to solar activity. And the sun is definitely doing some weird things lately. So what do we got going on in the news here? Well, let's take a look. As soon as this thing goes live, we'll flip right over to it, okay? So we're just sitting here waiting for it, waiting for them to come on. And once they come on, we'll hear it because it's obviously an event. You'll hear the background noise. And we'll switch right back over to it. But we're going to be looking at some news right now while we wait. China is sending a clear warning to Washington. Beijing has urged the United States to step back from any military move against Venezuela as American forces increase their presence in the Caribbean. Washington calls it a counter-narcotics mission, while China and Caracas view it as pressure on Venezuelan sovereignty. China has poured more than $60 billion into Venezuela since 2007. You think they got an investment there they're going to protect? Yeah. And its major state companies control key state stakes in the country's oil sector. Now, China has a very big stake in their oil. Obviously, it's one of the biggest deposits on planet Earth. And maybe that's why we want to go in there as well. It's in our backyard. We own it, right? Isn't that what we think? I think that's what Trump is thinking. And from some of Trump's videos, which people are saying are AI, it's not AI. Trump literally said, we're going to go into Venezuela and we're going to take the oil. It's not AI. These are all legitimate videos that I posted of him and his thoughts in the past. These aren't things that he said now, but it reveals what he really thinks. The other video that people were saying was AI was videos that were taken about 15 years ago when he was talking about Libya. Remember when we went into Libya? Same mindset. He basically gave commentary on what he thought Obama should do and going in and taking oil and regime change. And the same pattern of thinking is also actually being put forward for Venezuela. So, and you can see it right in his own words. In fact, I'll play it for you. People were saying, oh, it's AI. No, it's not AI. I remember it. Okay, this was before AI was even out. Trump was saying these things. So, not AI. But anyway, he goes on to say, this year alone, Venezuela has been supplying China with nearly 200,000 barrels of oil every day, despite the sanctions. With so much at risk for Beijing, any turmoil in Venezuela hits directly at China's strategic and economic interests. Will President Trump push this confrontation further? What do you think? Are we that crazy to go to war with China? Because literally, that's why Maduro is doing the dance. You know, when Trump is telling him he's going to come get him, he's like, I don't care. Go ahead. Try to get me. You go ahead and try. And he's not in any way afraid from what it looks like, because he's doing a bunch of dancing. That's all Maduro is doing right now, is dancing. Now, Trump is going to do something. I don't think Trump's going to let his ego get the best of him here, and he's going to actually make good on his threats. I think Trump is going to literally do something that is going to catapult the world. And this is why there's a flurry of activity right now in the back channels with, I think it was Witkoff and Kushner, who are businessmen, going over into Russia to make some deals before all the crap does hit the fan. Okay, here we go. I'm hearing something in the background here. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. All right, guys, this is live here. This is live, right out of the White House. Looks like Trump is sitting there. I wonder what this big announcement is. Is this war or is this new business? New business deals, probably. Probably how amazing the whole country's going to turn back. Income tax getting rid of. Cryptocurrencies coming in, going to pump the economy up to trillions and trillions of dollars. Everybody's going to get rich.
Thank you very much. You all set? Well, we're talking about CAFE standards, a very big deal. Well, we're talking about CAFE standards, a very big deal. Historic action to lower costs for American consumers, action to lower costs for American consumers, protect American auto jobs, and make buying a car much more affordable for countless American families and also safer. We're officially terminating Joe Biden's ridiculously burdensome, horrible, actually, CAFE standards that imposed expensive restrictions and all sorts of problems, gave all sorts of problems to automakers. And we're not only talking about here, we're talking about outside of our country, because nobody could do it. Nobody wanted to do it, and it was ridiculous, very expensive. It put tremendous upward pressure on car prices. Combined with the insane electric vehicle mandate, Biden's burdensome regulations helped cause the price of cars to soar more than 25%. And in one case, they went up 18% in 1 year. Today, we're taking one more step to kill the Green New Scam. It's part of the greatest scam, probably, well, other than Russia, and a few others I could name. The greatest scam in American history, the Green New Scam. And it's a quest to end the gasoline-powered car. This is what they wanted to do, even though we have more gasoline than any other country by far. And people want the gasoline car. They want everything. They want electric. They want to have lots of alternatives, but they do want the gasoline car. Right now, it's leading away by a lot. The car business is a very interesting business, but we want to keep it that way. I want to thank Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, Deputy Transportation Secretary Stephen Bradbury, as well as CEO of Ford, Jim Farley. Jim, where is Jim? Let's see. Hi, Jim. Congratulations. You're doing a great job. CEO of Stellantis, Antonio Filosa. Thank you very much, Antonio. Chairman of the National Automobile Dealers Association, Tom Castrida.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Tom. Great to have you. And Manager of General Motors Orient Plant, John Urbanek.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Great to have you guys here. And you're going to say a few words in a minute about how ridiculous this was, but we've just freed you up. So you're going to have a good day and have a good number of years. Thanks as well to Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Ted Cruz, Kevin Cramer, Marsha Blackburn, Eric Schmidt, and Bernie Marino, as well as Representatives Sam Graves, Vern Buchanan, Mike Kelly, Roger Williams, Lisa McClain, and Troy Balderson. All great people. These are great people. And I know there's a lot of support long beyond the people that are here. We've had tremendous support on this. From day one, I've been taking action to make buying a car more affordable. I signed an executive order to end the unfair, expensive electric vehicle mandate, as you know, where you had to have an electric car within a very short period of time, even though there was no way of charging them and lots of other things. It would have cost $5 trillion to build the charging plants. And as you know, in certain parts of the Midwest, they spent, to build 9 chargers, they spent $8 billion. So that wasn't working out too well. That was done before me, by the way. I wouldn't have let it go forward. We're canceling the EPA's absurd tailpipe emission standards, one of the most important things that I've never had a group of people come to me more powerfully and really just devastated that they had to do it. It was killing them than the automobile manufacturers, the tailpipe emission standards. And I can tell you, your people at Ford were coming to me all the time, and they were saying, like, please, it doesn't do anything, and it's killing us. And it's driving the cost through the roof. And we revoked Biden's emissions waiver for California so that California communists could not regulate the automobile industry and ruin the entire nation of automobiles. And they were doing that too. But we have that now under control also with your governor, who's got much more than he can control. Now, under the new rules being issued today by Secretary Duffy, the Department of Transportation will rescind the Biden fuel economy prices. And I hate to say that because they were really not economy. They were really, they were anti-economy. They were horrible what they were doing to the costs and actually making the car much worse. But these policies forced automakers to build cars using expensive technologies that drove up costs, drove up prices, and made the car much worse. The action is expected to save the typical consumer at least $1,000 off the price of a new car, and we think substantially more than that. Under the Trump administration, $70 billion are now being invested in the American auto industry. Ford has announced it will invest $5 billion across its Kentucky and Michigan plants. Is that a correct statement?
That's right.
That's a lot, $5 billion. You could do more. Creating at least 4,000 new jobs. Stellantis announced that it will invest $13 billion to expand its U.S.-based manufacturing by more than 50% and open new manufacturing facilities across the country. And I think a big part of that is also the tariffs. Because of tariffs, they're coming in. Not only the automobile industry, AI, we're leading China in AI, we're leading everybody in AI, we're leading everybody in everything. We have the hottest country right now. I will tell you, a lot of political people behind me, great political people, very successful political people. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, we had a dead country. And now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it started from November 5th, but it also started when we did the tariffs, and we've had tremendous support on the tariffs. It's bringing in trillions of dollars of wealth. It's bringing in national security. And I've stopped.
All right, we just had an F-16 crash in California. We'll be covering that after as well. Lots of news. He's just basically rehashing everything that he always usually does about how great the economy is and everything else. But hold tight. We just sent out the blast. Lots of people should be showing up here any minute. So let's just see what happens.
The surge by 10% so far this year. You know, I won the auto workers vote, but now even the head of the auto workers said Trump is the greatest president we've ever seen. And he happens to be right about that. But we're protecting our auto workers, and we're making it easier for every family to afford high-quality cars. In other words, we're bringing automobiles back and the manufacturing of automobiles back into this country. We lost 52% over the years, 52% of our automobile manufacturing. You see it, closed factories all over the place. Now they're all opening up. They're being, in most cases, they're being knocked down, and new ones are being built in their place. And a big beneficiary is the state of Michigan, but South Carolina, even states that didn't really do too much with the automobiles, they're opening up plants. It's been amazing. So between automobile plants, AI plants, and plants of every other nation, really every other type, including chips, we're going to have a big percentage of the chip market very soon. Not because of the CHIPS Act, which was horrible and ridiculous, where we just gave these companies billions and billions of dollars and they just kept the money, but because of what we did with tariffs. They have to build here, otherwise they're going to have to pay tariffs. They won't be able to do business in the United States. And we're going to have a big percentage of the chip industry. As of about a year ago, 2 years ago, we had none. And now we're going to have a very big percentage when it all finishes out. So I'd like to ask Secretary Duffy to speak, and then Mr. Farley, and then Filosa, and Urbanik, and Castrita. And also we're going to ask some of our political leaders to speak, because let me tell you, they went out of their way. This was not easy. And people were brainwashed. This is a green new scam. And people were paying too much for a car that didn't work as well. And now they're going to have a great car that's going to be environmentally friendly, but it's going to cost you a lot less, and it's going to work great. All of the nonsense is being taken out of the cars. So, Secretary Duffy, could you say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President. So yesterday at the cabinet meeting, the president was talking about affordability, and the way that Democrats talk about affordability is a lie. Today is a perfect example of that. So these CAFE standards used what was contrary to the law. The Congress set a rule that says you have to look at combustion engines. Biden and Buttigieg actually did an analysis using
Buttigieg.
I'm sorry. Buttigieg used EVs and hybrids to come up with a 62 mile an hour per gallon standard, which I think the car companies will tell you is completely unattainable. So they spent a lot of money on technology trying to meet the unattainable standard, driving up the cost of a car, number one. And then number two, if they couldn't meet the unattainable standard, they had to trade for carbon, costing billions of dollars, and again, driving up the price of the car. So, Mr. President, what Democrats were doing were not making cars more affordable, they're making them less affordable. The consequence of that is going to be that more Americans can afford to buy a new car, which means they're going to be safer on the roads because of all the great new technology we have that save lives. So we'll have less death on American roads. These rules are going to allow the automakers to make vehicles that Americans want to purchase, not vehicles that Joe Biden and Buttigieg wants them to build, which is important. But also, this is important for American jobs. The more cars we sell, the more jobs we have in this country. And so this is jobs, this is freedom, and this is common sense, Mr. President. So thank you for your leadership. And I appreciate what the Senate did with the big, beautiful bill and what we've done here today. So thank you, Mr.
Very
President.
much. A big, beautiful bill is it's something. It's amazing. Wait till the people see the benefits and the lower taxes that they're going to have, lower regulations. So, how about Ford?
Mr. President and Secretary, all the important lawmakers here, competitors, today is a victory of common sense and affordability. We're very proud of Ford to be the #1 auto producer in our country. 80% of the vehicles we sell here we make in our country.
Great.
And we never left, unlike many of our competitors. We're the #1 exporter, and we have the most auto factory workers. And this CAFE standard that is aligned with customer demand is the right move for a lot of reasons. We were #2 last year in EV sales, we were #3 in hybrid, and we're the leading brand for combustion. We believe that people should be able to make a choice, as you said, Mr. President, and we will invest more in affordable vehicles. This allows us to invest in affordable vehicles made in the U.S., which we will take the lead on, and will allow us to make vehicles more affordable. So thank you for making this step for all of you.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we're doing, it's separate from this meeting, but I think everybody here would agree with it. If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look, Honda, some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job. But we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working, so even when he's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less expensive, and it really gives people a chance to have a car, you know, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great. And so you car companies start thinking about that. I think it's going to be a tremendous market. Please, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great day for us at Stellantis today, because it's the day where we see CAFE regulation reconcile with real customers' demand. That's why at Stellantis we decided to invest to Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler $13 billion in the next 4 years, increasing production by 50%, delivering to the market 5 new vehicles, and creating 5,000 additional jobs. That's because we believe in what you...
Yeah, like people are saying they can't even afford food, let alone a new car that has a 50-year mortgage on it. It's like, well, you know, you can pay off your car in 20 years or so. We'll give you a 50-year mortgage on your house, and you'll end up paying, you know, only a couple, few $100,000 extra in interest. That's okay though. But hey, we're doing all kinds of great things. The economy's hot, hot, hot. Now, people don't really understand what's really happening, and hopefully we can, make sure that everybody does understand the realities of what's really happening economically behind the scenes, not to mention militarily, and how we're on the brink of literal a reshuffling of the global economy and allowing the world to be parceled out in pieces right now, with China and Russia taking a big swath of territories, not to mention in our own backyard, which we're about to go to war with. This is all smoke and mirrors right here. This is all happy talk. This is all making you feel like everything possibly might get better, just so you don't rise up and lose your minds, because really people are having a very hard time right now economically across the board. The banks are failing. And the banks are looking to this new tokenization and telling everybody to get into crypto, because they have to do something to try to get people to think that they're going to make money by putting their money into crypto when everything is failing with the American dollar. The reason the American dollar is failing is everybody is dumping dollars. And they're dumping dollars all around. It's called de-dollarization all around the world right now that are connected to the BRICS. The BRIC countries are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And they're the hub of the new global economic system. And all the other countries around the world are using their currencies now. Instead of the dollar, they're dumping dollars, because the dollars are weaponized. And the regime change that comes along with it are being repelled by many nations. So the petrodollar is dead. Dollars from other countries now are being invested in, and Venezuela is a very big part of the economy of China. Okay, so do you think China's going to let us just go in there and take it? All of this fentanyl that's coming in is coming from China. It's not coming from Brazil or from Venezuela. It's coming from the cartels that are getting it from China, and they're making it. So a lot of it is coming out of Mexico. We're going to war with Mexico. We're going to war with Colombia. We're going to war with Venezuela. We're going to war, whoever it is that we decide that we're going to go into, take up our residence and assimilate. It could be Canada. I mean, it could be Greenland. It could be Panama. I mean, haven't we already stated we're going to go into all these countries and just take them over? I mean, Trump has been saying all this stuff about going in and taking countries, whether they like it or not. You don't think that, and then for people to tell me that the video that I posted about Trump, this is all just happy talk. I'm going to move on. So the stuff that we were talking about with Trump, saying that this is AI, I want to take you over to my channel here and show you this video of Trump saying that what he really wants to do in Venezuela, and this is really, you need to really think about this. This is not AI. This was like 15 years ago when he was talking about Libya, when Obama was going in and regime changing Libya. This is all a part of the global plan and the powers that be that run our country. And Trump is basically trying to come in as an outsider, trying to take he was setting himself up for this presidential run. Right? This is why he was getting all into politics back then, because he was preparing. And everybody knew it. But he also talked about, in this clip that I'm going to show you right now, he also talked about lo and behold, he talked about Venezuela. Now, this Venezuelan clip was around 2017 or let's see. No, this Venezuelan clip was after he left office in 2020. So he responded to what the Biden administration was doing with Venezuela, and he was talking about his thoughts about what he thought should have been done. This was during about maybe 2022-ish, 2021. So you're going to have two clips there. One's an older clip and one's a newer clip. One looks like a young Trump, which people were saying was AI, and it wasn't. It's all on the record. So just be understanding that. But here we go. Let's listen carefully. This is Trump's true thoughts. And this is what he's going to do.
Ultimately, the people will appreciate it. They're going to end up taking over the country eventually, but the people will appreciate it, and they should pay us back. But we have to go in to save these lives. We should do, on a humanitarian basis, immediately go into Libya, knock this guy out very quickly, very surgically, very effectively, and save the lives. After it's all done, we go to the protesters who end up running the country. They're going to like us a lot better than they will if we don't do it. More importantly, we're going to save lives. And we should then say, by the way, from all of your oil, we want reimbursement. We should have said, we'll help you, but we want 50% of your oil. They would have absolutely said, okay, 100%. In fact, they would have said, how about 75%? So, and isn't it sad? We could have had anything we wanted. We could have had 50% of those oil fields. You know, in the old days, when you had a war, it's to the victor belong the spoils. So we could have had something special. When the so-called rebels came to us, we should have said, fellas, we're going to help you. We want 50% of your oil. They would have said, thank you very much. We have a deal. Write it down. Sign it. We have a deal.
Sure, why not? Just take it all. Well, you just have it all. We want you to have it all. Sorry, my mic went down here. Go ahead. Just take it all. We don't mind. It's not our resources. Anyway, you gave us this country. You empowered us to rise up and overthrow this regime, and now we're a part of you. We're just an extension of America. So go ahead. Take it all. That's what they're wanting to do right now in Venezuela. But listen carefully.
We would have been a rich nation again. They have tremendous oil reserves in Libya. Instead, we help, we get nothing. We're very, very foolishly led. Our leaders, unfortunately. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
So what did he say? We would have went in there if they wouldn't have messed up. Biden didn't know what he's doing. Obviously, Biden doesn't know what he's doing. But Trump, on the other hand, is the other opposite end, the extreme opposite end, right? He's on the same coin, same plan, same purpose, and this was all set up for your consumption and your entertainment. So that now that you understand what the real picture is that Trump is actually closer. He's the closer on the deal. He's going to go in and take it. And it's right in our backyard, he says. Listen again. What did he say? What was his words right there? Let's go back and listen to that one more time.
Next door. Our leaders, unfortunately. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Venezuela was ready to collapse. It would have collapsed right next door. We would have all that oil. It would have all been ours. We were just waiting for it to collapse, just like vultures. But no, that didn't happen. Because, see, Trump was trying to set it up even back then, I guess, if that's what it was. Or, you know, there's so much that goes into this, but let's just continue to listen a little more and see what else was said here. Now, like I said, this is not AI. This is Trump. People are trying to make excuses for Trump. This is AI. No, it's not AI.
Que este país ha conquistado la más grande unión.
All right, so this just basically shows Maduro's huge approval rating inside of Venezuela. I mean, literally, they say 80% of the people are behind him. And all Venezuela, all Maduro is doing now is he's just basically thumbing his nose and resisting anything that the Trump administration is trying to do right now, even after they threw down the gauntlet and said, and gave them an ultimatum. Now, this ultimatum was just the other day, so we were expecting a lot of announcements about war, but hey, we're backing out. We're backing off. Kind of like what we did with Iran. We kind of backing off. Unless something's going to happen, unless this is kind of a tactic to kind of just sneak attack when they least expect it here in the near future, they're not doing it right now. They didn't do it in Iran. They didn't go back and redo it because now they're saying it's all done. It's good. I don't know if there are still, but they're going to do the same thing here. We sent a whole armada down there. We told them that we gave them an ultimatum. If they don't do this, we're going to go in and do something. But are we going to do it? Or is this just a bluff? Or is this just the weakness of America? Well, we got to wait and see, I guess. It may take some time, or maybe it will never happen. Everybody will have forgotten. And then Trump will try to play it off like, it was just me wasting money and wasting time and wasting people's energies and getting them all riled up for no reason. But look at Maduro. He doesn't care.
Social o segmento. Hoy Venezuela está unida.
Does Maduro look scared? Does he look worried? He don't look worried to me. Maduro don't look worried at all. He looks pretty happy and content. Yeah, so who knows? Well, let's just get into some other news because the other stuff I'm just... So this just happened. A man was accused of yelling at anti-ICE comments, and then he threw 2 Molotov cocktails. This was just happening today in downtown LA at a federal building. However, he forgot to light the Molotov cocktails. He threw the Molotov cocktails, but forgot to light them, they said. Look at the footage. Look at this.
ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Right now at 11, stunning new details on this attempted firebombing at the federal building in downtown LA. The suspected anti-ICE arsonist now accused of setting his own apartment on fire just hours earlier. The new information also revealing an extensive criminal record dating back decades.
Scene erupting Monday, just hours before Hovell is accused of launching Molotov cocktails at officers in the federal building in downtown LA, which houses Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
A pretty large scene here outside of the federal building.
Hovell allegedly telling investigators it was a terrorist attack. The Department of Justice releasing photos of the 54-year-old on his bike throwing 2 Molotov cocktails through 2 entrances of the building. Authorities say surveillance video shows Hovell tried to light at least one of the devices. Federal officers immediately arresting the 54-year-old, saying they found a lighter and 5 more Molotov cocktails in a bag on his bike. According to the court filing, Hovell was angry over ICE immigration actions, telling...
See, what they're getting ready to do is they're getting ready to ramp up these protests, this chaos, this terror. He even said himself, right? He said himself that he was a terrorist. Like he actually told on himself, said, I'm a terrorist, right? Is that what he did? Is that what they just said? Okay, so this is going to be happening all over, and it's going to ramp up. That's why they're preparing for all these troops to go into different states, these quick response National Guard units of 500. They can deploy them anywhere in the nation at any moment, starting January 1st, right? This is only a few weeks away. And they're getting ready for unrest. They're getting ready for chaos. And they're stoking the flames. They're stoking the fires. They're talking about 19 different nationalities that are now going to be expelled from the United States, are not allowed to come in. Trump's talking about all Somalis being deported. All Somalis. Doesn't matter if you're a good Somali citizen or not here in America. You've got a job. If you're Somali, you're going back to your country. Because there's a huge percentage of those people that are in that nationality that are bad. So even if you're a good person and you've got a job and you're doing something here in America to try to better yourself in your life and your family, you're going back to Somalia. But is this what they're doing across the board to stoke, racial tensions and ethnic tensions, and who knows what else is coming, guys? I'm just telling you, they're getting prepared for something huge, and it has to do with the global order of things. This isn't just about domestic unrest and domestic problems and what was let. And by the way, they let these people in during that period when Trump was out of office on purpose. And this was so that Trump could bring down these measures of control and all the digital surveillance. This was all for, just like COVID. COVID just didn't happen in a vacuum. That was in preparation to launch all of the digital nanotechs and everything else that they wanted to launch. The whole grid of, because that's when all the satellites went up too, by the way. During COVID is when they set up all the stations for these 5 or 6Gs, 5G, I think it's 5G. And they also launched all of the, most all of the Starlinks. So they blanketed the whole planet during COVID. So you can look at some of the models on how many satellites were actually launched. It literally covers the planet almost every inch during the time of COVID. So this is in preparation for the surveillance grid, and not to mention the release of AI. So the AI was just now becoming a part of our everyday lives. People were lonely during COVID. They were isolated. They went online. People were actually having relationships with AI bots. That's how bad it was during COVID. But see, this was all launched during that period. And now they're launching the other aspects of this surveillance and, control grid, really. And it's all digital. It's really sad to see what's happening. And I don't think we have too much longer before all this is going to become just a dystopian nightmare. This one here says, Maduro could be exiled to Qatar as Trump warns land strikes on Venezuela coming very soon. This is Zero Hedge. This was today. Not sure if that's actually going to even pan out or not. But, there's all these mixed messages coming out. We don't know what's real, what's not. I mean, it's just, it could be anything right at the moment. And Trump always says that too. I don't want you to know what I'm thinking. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. Well, it's okay. You don't have to tell. You don't have to say anything. Just don't even say anything. Why even bait people? Just do it. The ones that are quiet and that don't tell you what they're going to do and then do it, those are the ones you got to be aware of. That's like the Sun Tzu art of war. You don't even tell your opponent that you're about to punch them, right? You don't tell them your plan. And even then, that's kind of cocky anyway, right? It's kind of like those MMA fighters that are out there and they're all cocky and they're showboating and they're showing how much power they have, and then they get knocked out and they look stupid and foolish, right? Just be humble. Don't say too much. If you're going to do something, just do it. Don't go around showboating and telling everybody how powerful you are and what you're going to do and blustering, because then when you get knocked on your keister, you look stupider. At least if you get knocked down, you don't look as bad if you're not sitting there going around showboating, yelling and screaming about how great you are. So I think America has a great fall coming ahead because of our great boasts. And so this is dated today. Let's see. It says Trump reportedly issued Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro a deadline of last Friday to his own volition to step down as president and accomplish a peace transition of power, or else face possible direct military action. The New York Post is freshly reporting, this is just today, that the White House has offered that Maduro could be exiled to Qatar, where he would live out his days in luxury in one of the world's finest countries. Quote, a senior Trump administration source said Secretary Marco Rubio has floated allowing Maduro, 63 years old, to locate to Qatar as the gas-rich emirate helps mediate the conflict. Quote, 3 current and 2 former administration officials described the scenario as plausible. You think that's going to happen? Maybe that's why China is now making statements, because they think there's a possibility that this could happen. And I don't think China's going to like this at all, especially with all that investment. I mean, they were great. They were happy to take over Afghanistan once we left. But with Trump, it's more of a confrontation, more of a contention, and possible, we could be seeing a lot of chaos as a result, I think. And you know, this might be a part of the whole scenario of what we know is coming anyway, right? It's global war. It's a part of prophecy. It's a part of what we expect to happen, and it's not something that is out of the realm of belief, because I do think that there isn't going to be eternal peace. You know, Trump has stated at least 3 or 4 times that he's bringing eternal peace. I mean, I don't even know why he would spiritualize peace. You know, why would Trump spiritualize peace? You know, he says he's going to bring eternal peace. And then he also says that, you know, the prophets have said that the end of the world would take place in the Middle East. According to the biblical prophets, he said this on 2 different occasions. And he emphatically stated, I will not let that happen. I will not let that happen. I will not let the end of the world take place in the Middle East. And this is why he has his board of peace and that he's the chairman of, because he's overseeing all of that area right there, right directly around Israel. And he's going to basically make that like a base right there with the rebuilding of the Trump Gaza, you know, agenda there, with all these other nations that have been brought in to oversee the rebuilding of that area, with us being the controlling major, you know, stakeholder, right? We're the major controlling influence, and we're parceling it out to what? UAE and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Turkey. They want a part of it too. And so all the nations are now gathering, and Israel's feeling really unnerved with this. I think Israel is very, very, and along with what's going on in Syria, you know, like I told everybody in the beginning, I said, this is like jumping out of the pan and into the fire by getting this guy in there that's a former ISIS leader and a former Al-Qaeda leader now to take over Syria. You don't think that they're not going to have more problems now? They should have been content with Assad, because he was a lot more moderate. Now you've got a radical right there on your doorstep. So Israel says, well, we're not going to listen to what Trump says. We're going to have a buffer zone all the way up to Damascus, you know, because we need this, because we don't like what's going on here now. You know, now they're feeling uncomfortable, right? They're like, our Messiah isn't really protecting us. Maybe it was all a ruse. Maybe this whole thing about putting the capital here in Israel was all just a way to get us to trust him. And now we're trusting him, and now he's throwing us to the dogs. He's literally encircling us with nations that are totally and completely antagonistic to Israel's interests. So now you got fire-breathing dragon right there in Syria, and you've got all these other Islamic nations now coming to bear down there in Gaza, which Israel doesn't control anymore. Isn't that amazing? And you know, Daniel chapter 11, verse 45 says that he sets his royal tents, and it's talking about this end-time war right there along the coast between the Holy Mount and the Mediterranean. So if he sets his royal tents there, isn't that what we saw with the video, Trump Gaza Hotel, and all the things that he's doing right now? They're setting their royal tents. They're getting ready for war, and this is the last day wars. So let's see what else we got here. Let me pull up some other information here, and then I'm going to get back over to our devotional with our fellowship and our church. For those who are a part of that, we'll be doing that live in just a little bit. I just kind of wanted to get on this just in case it was significant, but I found out that Trump was just, you know, another product he's promoting. So I guess that's just, might as well make as much money as possible before everything does hit the fan, right? So this to me was just, you know, another, you know, infomercial. That's the ShamWow guy, by the way. So anyways, I'm just going to get into the word here in a little bit and some prayer with all of those who are a part of our church. And we just launched our new app. If you don't know anything about the app, I encourage everybody to get the app. The app is going to be the most important thing that I'm going to be posting all of our updates on. So make sure you do have the app. And the way you get the app is you hit the link below, and then it'll take you to a download of the app itself. It'll be on your phone. The icons will update here soon. So our icons are now still generic, but the Apple has to approve those icons. And once the icon is approved, it'll be on your phone. You'll see it. But what you do is you go to the link. It'll take you to Blazing Press, or if it tells you to search for the church, just put Blazing Press. but it should automatically download and apply. Make sure you apply the logo to your phone. Just say, yes, I want the logo of the church, and it'll put the logo of the church on the iPhone or on your Android, whichever one it is. And then you'll get push notifications anytime we go live. Those are all free. You're not going to be on an SMS list if you don't want to be on an SMS list. And if you want to opt out of our SMS messaging, you can also do that. But we have a very large list that we're sending SMS messaging to. And let's see. Somebody said, can they use a false flag to start a war anymore? I mean, this was a question. That's the usual method to start a war. But I wonder if people have woken up to not be played again. Like, there's so much of this past history of false flag narratives that bring about our entry into conflicts, whether it was World War II or, Vietnam or, some of these other wars. I mean, we can always go back in history and see how false flags work. But people have kind of woken up to that whole idea, I think. But even still, there's a lot of ways they can still do it. PSYOPs are pretty deep. Has the false flag attack to start a war lost its potency? I don't think so. Trump last night, listen to this. Trump last night, let's look at that really quick here. Can you see that? Trump last night promoted a post that guaranteed Barack Obama will face a military tribunal. Now, this is definitely red meat to all the MAGA people out there, because this, and the Q people, because this is exactly what they have been expecting for a long time. Donald Trump retweeted or re-truthed on his Truth Social what Julie Donuts had said. And what did she say? She posted that when the director of national intelligence, and I believe that would be, is that Tulsi Gabbard? When the director of national intelligence tells the public, quote, Obama committed treason and President Trump is your president, you can 100% know that we will see his military tribunal. So do you believe that Obama, and by the way, they said recently that Obama's wife, Michelle, if you believe that, was using the auto pen at the White House right before Biden left, and that she gave pardons away. She was actually behind it. They say it was highly illegal. So I don't know where they're coming out with this, but this is all coming out right now, supposedly. And I believe that this was posted on InfoWars, and now Trump is reposting a lot of InfoWars topics. So I think he retweeted that as well, that Michelle Obama was a part of this. And that could have huge implications, because now Trump is saying that everything that was auto-penned under Biden is now null and void. So that means that nobody can be safe from prosecution, even former presidents, right? Former administration. Is this going to cause a complete and utter civil unrest and war in America if they do that? Think about it. If they were to take Obama and bring him up on charges, and Michelle Obama, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Not to mention, people are losing their SNAP benefits and all the, they're slowly taking, I've had testimonies of people saying that, hey, I have a loved one that needs benefits, and they're now not getting them. They're telling them that they're not getting them. So they're literally taking away millions and millions of people off the doles. Don't you think that that's going to cause people to rise up and have some chaos? That's why they're expecting chaos in America on American streets. It may not just be about the supposed 40 or 50 million people that came over illegally over our borders. And who knows how many terrorists were in those numbers. But it could also be the unrest that's going to rise up from our own population centers when they're hungry. When people get hungry, they do crazy things. Now, I've been really watching some very troubling videos lately on what is projected and people that are looking at what's happening and forecasting what's to come. And it's frightening. in every major city. It is literally frightening. And I think that's probably why they have, and they're timing it right now with all the release of the technologies, as well as, the rollout of federalizing all the state and local law enforcement, as well as sending National Guard into every state of the union, if you want to call it a union. Maybe it's not going to be a union anymore, but we'll see. But this is where we're headed. We're headed toward a complete and utter breakdown of civil society and economic meltdown as well. I mean, have you been looking at the prices of silver and gold? That's an indicator right now of things that are going and hitting the fan economically. Bitcoin, that to me is just absolutely crazy that people are putting all their trust now out, and they're getting out of the dollars into money that can just disappear. I mean, literally, is it really going to hold any value for you when it really does hit the fan? You know what it reminds me of? And I'm going to just make a spiritual analogy for those who are spiritual here that know they're and understand their Bibles. It's like Bitcoin is kind of like the outward presentation of wealth. They say it's digital gold. But your digital gold can just all of a sudden not work one day, whether it's an electrical power grid outage or whether it's somebody just coming into your computer and taking your wallet or whatever, just because AI can do all kinds of stuff now. And it's like the Pharisees coming out and having a clean outward presentation, but they don't have any substance. To me, substance is tools. Substance is know-how, skills, talents. Do you know how to farm? Do you know how to grow food? Do you know how to produce animals so that you have actual meat? Do you know how to get out of harm's way? Or are you a sitting duck in a 15-minute smart city, or as Trump calls them, freedom cities, or concrete jungle? There's no escape. You're surrounded by too many people that are going to be hungry. Okay, and the government is not coming to save you when everything hits the fan. They're not coming to save you. Okay? This is the great cull. This is what they do when they want to eliminate huge portions of the population. And I think we're on the brink of seeing that, as they say, in preparation for World War III. This is just indicators nationally of what we're seeing in preparation for a global war. And if you're not getting this and you're not seeing the big picture, I'm sorry. Maybe this is not the channel for you, but I need to speak to people that understand what's really happening. So let's see what else we got here. Just kind of going through some news here really quickly, just some of the basic stuff here. Jingzhu says, build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. That would be for Maduro, right? Here's your golden bridge. You can go to Qatar, live out your life in luxury, go away, right? Go away. Do you think Maduro's going to take that offer today? Because that was an offer that was probably given to him just in the last 24 hours or so. Because if he doesn't, and China gives him some kind of guarantees, security guarantees, well, then maybe we could see a real conflict. But if it's just Maduro against the U.S., there's no way he's not going to fight. I don't think he's going to want to fight us, because he's probably going to end up dead, But I think that there's a possibility that Venezuela might have, and in preparation for this, China may have already prepared them in some way to fight a war with us. And maybe China is already really deeply embedded there already, because their interests are there. Why wouldn't they have military interests as well? Or have their military to secure those interests, right? I think China might have their military already. And I think that they also have the ability to cause chaos within the U.S. anyway. So if they know that it's going in that direction, that's when we're going to start seeing domestic chaos. That's when I think they're going to unleash the dogs on us. And it's going to be an internal chaos. That's what I think they're going to do. And it may not be a kinetic conflict with China. It may be just chaos breaking out in America. Because there are all kinds of things that are just ready to go off. How many of you guys out there see the scenario that I'm speaking of? How many of you guys are out there can understand the point of view that I'm putting out there? Just type 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. If Maduro flees to Iran, what does that look like in biblical terms? I don't know. I'm not sure. I know there's a lot shaping up, going down over there. Let's see. Well, one thing that we have a problem with in chat is people that are there just to stir up all kinds of controversy and fight with people in the chat. That we don't allow. So if we have moderators that can actually moderate problems within the chat, I will definitely set some moderators in the chat. Rebecca, I'm going to make you a moderator so you understand. God bless you. If you're a person that's pretty regular here, you can be the moderator. And if you see people, I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me on topics. I don't have any problem with people disagreeing. But when they become disagreeable and they start fighting with people and they start accusing people and attacking people ad nauseum to distract everybody, those are the people that need to be banned out. So because they make it an unpleasant environment. And I'm not saying that unpleasant conversations they're not always unnecessary, because sometimes we do need to have unpleasant conversations, but it's for the purpose of instructing people and leading people in a pathway of truth. Sometimes things do need to get a little bit heated, but you can avoid a lot of problems with people that are just wasting people's energy and time, and they're not really wanting to get to the root of the real problem. And sometimes people do have that mindset. So yeah, they do need to be, dealt with or banned or whatever. Life is too short to argue. I agree. And I don't have a problem, like I said, with debate, but arguing is something that's totally in a different realm. You don't want to argue with people. It's just a waste of breath and a waste of time. But you want to get to the bottom and the root of a problem. Yeah, sometimes heated discussions and debates are good because it does get to the root of a problem. There's resistance, there's, pride sometimes, and arrogance and egos that need to be, brought into submission. And during that conflict, sometimes people go through within themselves and with others, they learn. So it's not always a bad thing. But if you've got just people wasting time, and especially in an environment like a chat room, you're not going to solve a problem by just airing out and being a troll. You don't want to be a troll, come back in another name and fight and say a bunch of stuff and then come back. Anyways, it's just a lesson we should learn. Hello from Eastern Oregon. Good to see you. Remember the days when many will be easily offended. We're here. Yes. Very easy, Tracy. Very easy. Trump's making the rounds in South America? Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Freedom Deep, I think I'm going to make you a mod as well. Let's add you as a mod too. Everybody gets to try out being a mod here. We'll go through. We'll cycle through mods. Give people a little opportunity because hey, we're going to start getting more people in as soon as I get this thing fixed. I'm not sure what happened to my my app here, or not the app, the software within the app. But it's telling me I've got some kind of error message on one of the texts I was going to send out. Maybe that was a good thing, because this was a complete dud what Trump, it was just another sales pitch. But when we do get a lot of people coming in, we're going to need mods. All right? We're going to need mods. Mods are very important. When you see somebody just really attacking and making a big stir up and dust up, you just want to mute them. Just have them message their problems and information to the contact information on our app. So we answer everybody on the app, okay? If they have an issue. If they have a daddy issues and daddy tissues, we'll try to help them and counsel them. That's what we do. We're long suffering. We understand that people do have issues, and we're not here to just condemn people, but and I will listen, but I'm not going to sit there and waste time with someone that just has an axe to grind. They can go, be a troll if they want. If that's their vocation, they choose to be trolls, and then there's nothing I can do about that. I gotta move on because there's a lot of other people out there that want to hear. So let's see if I can figure out why this is not working. It says it's very strange, very strange. Something's going on here. But it's a good thing that it didn't go out. It's a good thing I didn't send this message out. All right, so we're going to call it for right now, and I'm going to get over to the fellowship, guys. So you guys that want to be a part of our fellowship, come on over to the... Let me see, I rebranded it. Let me make sure I got this right. Everything is in the process of changing over and rebrand. We're kind of doing our great reset here at BP News. This is the great reset of BP News and the fellowship. Remnant Church, there you go. So Remnant, no, wait. Yeah, Remnant Rising Church. And it is, if you go to BP Ministries, if you do a search on YouTube, BP Ministries, just like BP News, but BP Ministries, you'll find our channel there, and you can subscribe. It'll say Remnant Rising. If I can find it on here. Hold on one second here. Where is it? It's not on here. Hold on. Oh, that's weird. Hold on a second here. I know I changed it. Maybe it just got... Okay, here it is. Yeah, it's here. I'm just trying to figure out why. Okay, so BP Ministries. You'll see it. It'll say Remnant Rising. Yeah, because we've gotten a number of channels back, and this is why I'm having a little confusion, because I've got like 4 other channels that just came back online that YouTube gave back to us, and they all have different brand. Well, most of them have the Blazing Press brand, but we are switching out a couple of those channels, and in the process of them switching over and updating, they kind of got lost. So that's why I'm having a time trying to figure out where they went. So anyways, we will be over at the Blazing Press Ministries in just a little bit. So stay tuned. God bless. Love you all. And we'll be talking to you guys real soon, okay?